Hey guys, it's Darwin, here with my buddy Zach, and today we're going to try some different instant coffees for the trail and let you know what we like the best. Alright guys, so there's a lot of different types of instant coffee. Usually whenever I do any actual car camping, I usually take a percolator. Zach, what do you usually take?
I take an AeroPress.
AeroPress? Cool. So there's a lot of different types of coffees that you can drink while you're camping, but today I wanted to focus specifically on instant coffees that you can drink while you're doing a long distance hike, maybe a bike tour, something like that where you don't want to carry a coffee maker, a percolator, an AeroPress, so just instant coffee. So we're going to look at a couple different types. So the first ones that we figured that we would tackle are kind of the standards. Folgers instant coffee, that classic roast that I'm sure a lot of you have had, and Nescafe. So let's fire up the stove and go ahead and check some out. So while this is boiling, I figured I'd talk about what I mainly drank while I was out on the AT last year and this year. Pretty much the standard for me and Snuggles was Starbucks Via. A little bit more expensive and kind of hard to come by most times. So a lot of times Snuggles and I would send this to ourselves in the mail. This stuff is like gold out on the trail. So usually if you have it and you have enough of it, you can barter for other things like a Snickers bar or maybe some extra breakfast. All right, so we got a nice boil. So let's try out, what's your pick first in the nasties?
I've had the Folgers, I've never had the Nescafe.
All right, so Nescafe it is. Let's try out some Nescafe. A lot of times you can find this stuff at like a Dollar General, Family Dollar, pretty much anywhere on the trail at any type of resupply spot. You'll usually find this or Folgers first before you find any of these really good ones. So like normal, they're in these little bitty instant packs. As you can hear, this is kind of crunchy, so that means it's good. Oh, it smells awful. Smells like instant coffee. All right. Bon appetit. A lot of coffee.
Looks vaguely like
Cheers.
coffee. Not a lot of coffee flavor.
Nope.
Kind of like a vague bitterness.
Just like Grandma used to make. So yeah, so if you're in a pinch, Nescafe is great. Not my first pick. It is a little bit chemically tasting. So yeah, not the best. But again, if you need caffeine in the morning, I'm sure this will do the trick. I would assume that this has caffeine in it. And this is the dark roast too, so I know they come in a couple of different, yeah, this is the dark roast. Good and dark. Yeah, shall we move on?
Might as well.
Yeah. All right, so next up is Folgers, good old Folgers. Again, one of those coffees that you can pick up at a Dollar General, pretty much anywhere on the trail, any resupply spot. I pretty much see this everywhere. It's about $1 a box, and it's 7 packets. So if you're on a budget, I would say this is probably a pretty good choice. Same thing with the Nescafe, if you're on a budget. So let's try this stuff out. I used to see whenever we were on the trail, people that had these would use like 6 packets in a cup of water just to get some coffee flavor. So we'll see if it's any better than I remember.
But it's got like...
It smells like candy or something.
Wood?
Wood? It smells like a wet dog. All right, Folgers. So that tastes exactly like the Nescafe.
Yeah, no different. maybe a tiny bit less bitter. I don't know. Probably not.
A little less bitter.
Maybe.
A little less bitter. I'll give him that.
Yeah. Kind of smells more like coffee.
The best part of waking up is not Folgers in your cup. But it's a doable part of waking up.
Yeah.
Like I said, if you got to get caffeine and you got to get on the trail, I'm sure these are great. I ran into a couple of cats out on the trail that actually carried one of the glass jars of these. I don't know if you remember that. When you were a kid, your grandma or grandpa had like the glass jar and they would just spoonful it in there. So I met a couple people that done that. Another thing that you can do with this stuff is actually take a jar of peanut butter, empty out about half the jar of peanut butter, and dump some of this in there and then mix it up. And I've seen a lot of people just eating spoonfuls of that for breakfast. So you're getting calories, you're getting caffeine. Yeah. It's good to start going and not have to boil water. All right, let's move on. Let's try one that's kind of new to me. I never did find this on the trail. It is a new product. It comes out of Boulder, Colorado. And some friends suggested this to me. This is Alpine Start. Let me see if I can get some enough light on there. They kind of did a dark box. It's kind of like a recycled box. A little cool. It looks like something that someone in the outdoors would have.
Very Boulder.
Very Boulderish. So a little bit longer of a pack, and they suggest 8 to 12 ounces. So it must be pretty strong. So let's try it out. We got about 12 ounces in there. So we'll try one packet. A lot finer of a powder. It's not crystals. I've heard good things about it, so we'll definitely try it out.
For just one packet, that looks
that's
like
a
coffee.
lot. So, right off the bat, one packet versus our 3 packets of Folgers and Nescafe. The Folgers and Nescafe are definitely cheaper, but if you got to use 3 packets to make a cup of coffee, and this is supposed to only be 1 packet, Alpine Start.
It smells really good. Tastes like coffee.
That tastes like coffee. So, Alpine Start, good job. Wow, that's pretty tasty.
Yeah.
That is the premium Italian blend. It definitely doesn't have kind of a plasticky taste or a fake taste. That tastes like a brewed pot of coffee. So, yeah, definitely good. So, one downside to a coffee like this is this box was $8, $9. So that's about $1 a cup of coffee, which is pretty expensive. If you're on a budget on the trail, probably not your best option, but it is definitely really good coffee. I guess if you're going out for a handful of days, maybe a section hike or something, picking up a box of this and having some good coffee is probably definitely worth it. Yeah, it's good. I like that.
I'm gonna finish this.
Yeah, I'd drink that every morning. Yeah, what you don't see is in between these takes, we've been pouring out the other coffee and not finishing it. This is actually worth finishing, especially at $1 a cup. All right, so next up is my number 1 choice for coffee. Again, these things were like currency on the trail. If you had some of these, you could pretty much buy anything. People love the Via. It's put out by Starbucks. For a while, they were pretty expensive, but I've actually been finding them pretty cheap. Usually, you can buy like a box of 6 of them at like a Walmart or something for about $4 or $5. So a lot cheaper and a lot better coffee. This was my staple on the trail. We pretty much hoarded these, and there wasn't a day on the entire Appalachian Trail that I didn't have one of these. So that's how stuck on these I am. So I already know what these are going to taste like. I already know the quality of them.
That's our go-to backpacking coffee too.
Same thing. Yep. Yeah, and it's a lot of people's. Again, one little packet, 8 ounces of coffee. A lot of times, if I was having a rough day or I knew it was going to be a big day, I'd do like 2 of these in the morning. Have about 16 ounces.
We can usually find these at like Costco. Buy a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, that's the great thing is if you go to like a big box store like Costco, Sam's Club, you can usually find like these 26-pack boxes and get a lot of them, which is really nice to stock up on and then send yourself some on the trail as well. So if you're going to do any type of resupply, mail drops, or anything like that, I highly suggest that because they can be kind of hard to find out on the trail. We did find them at Walmarts and stuff like that. CVS's, Walgreens, whenever we went into a trail town. But most of the time, again, you're going to find the Folgers and the Nescafe at most places. So definitely stock up on these. Yeah. Yeah. Now that tastes like 2 years of my life. So like I said, every single morning I had this, both in 2015 and 2016 while I was on the trail. So that's 2,189 miles of memories.
It does a good job of tasting just like a cup of coffee from Starbucks.
Exactly. Yeah, they did a really, really good job. And it comes in a couple different, this is the Columbia I usually like the Italian roast is what I pick up. A little less acidic. I feel like the Columbia has a little bit of like an acidic taste to it. The Italian is like really nice and smooth, and that was kind of my go-to for the trail. The other great thing about these is if you don't have a stove or you don't want to waste time boiling water in the morning, you can just take it and like throw it in your Nalgene or in your Smart Water bottle. A lot of people would just actually carry a little disposable water bottle just to mix that up with cold water, and as they're taking off on the trail, just start chugging it. Goes down quicker because it's not hot, obviously. So, I mean, you don't get that enjoyable sit around, have a nice hot cup of coffee, but if you just need caffeine and you need it to go quick, it's definitely a great option, and it dissolves in water really nice, unlike the flavor crystals, like in the Folgers. So, something to keep in mind. If you're planning on putting these in cold water, a little bit different, can be kind of chunky. These definitely dissolve really nice, so.
I bet the Alpine Start would dissolve too. It's got a real similar texture.
All right, so the last coffee that we have is one that, again, I've never tried. It's called Kuju. It looks to be like a pour-over thing. Now, this one big giant pack is a cup of coffee. So I think this thing was like $1.75, $2. So definitely not the cheapest, but I figured I'd throw it in just to kind of give something a little bit different in this review, kind of talking about different instant coffees. This one's an instant coffee that kind of has a pour-over option. So let's give this a try and see how this tastes. It has like little wings on it. Okay, so right away, if you have a Snow Peak cup, even the 600 mil, it looks like it's, I don't know, putting water in this.
Fit that cup, yeah.
Putting water in it, I don't know. So you tear it open, you put the wings on there, kind of like that. You guys can see that little, got the coffee down in there. And then I'm supposed to pour this on here. I'm kind of nervous that it's gonna. So right off the bat, I can tell you, if I'm doing a Thru-Hike or doing any type of long distance backpacking, even doing a bike tour, I don't want to do this every morning. This would drive me absolutely batshit crazy.
This is already time consuming.
Yeah, I already want coffee. I bet it'll be pretty good because it's like having a cup of pour over coffee. So definitely not the most convenient and backpacker friendly. Maybe a good coffee for like car camping, but even at that, like I rather always have percolator coffee.
Yeah, I'm sure the AeroPress makes better coffee.
Yeah.
I want to just call it.
This is torture.
There's a couple ounces in the bottom there.
Yeah. The other thing is I think like this. So let's talk about pack it in, pack it out. Responsible. Make sure you always pack out whatever you bring in. This thing has swollen up, kind of like a dirty diaper. I don't want to pack this thing out. I feel like you couldn't really get this thing dry, and that's a lot of extra weight to pack out.
If you're building a campfire, it looks like it's all, bio combustible. Like there's no plastic or anything.
No.
So I'm sure you could burn it in a small campfire, but yeah, once again, that's not really backpacking through hiking style.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, it didn't make much coffee, so. That's all it is. The San Francisco treat. It's good. It tastes like a cup of coffee. I mean, it should.
I don't know if it's any better than the other two sort of good options.
No. Yeah, it's no better than like Via or Alpine Start, but it's not bad. I mean, I'd drink it if someone else was packing it out or buying it. So, not bad. Again, a little pricey, a little bit of an aggravation to be able to pack it out. The actual size of it is pretty big. I mean, that's one cup of coffee. As you can tell just from that time, it only made like that much coffee. So, not my pick. So, out of all of these, which one would you say is the winner? Is it going to be the Alpine Start, the Starbucks Via, the Folgers, or the Nescafe, or the Kuju Dirty Diaper? Who has the best coffee?
I'm leaning toward that Alpine Start, actually. And
Start?
that might just be because I drink the Via
so
often.
Much. Right. Yeah. The Alpine Start is pretty damn good. It's kind of hard to argue with that. Again, a little bit pricier than the Via. To me, it's always going to be Via. It is my number one pick, and it's because it's like fused into my veins at this point. So that tastes right to me. Yeah. So all good options, just depending on what your flavor is and what your budget is. So what other instant coffees are out there? What are you guys drinking? Leave me some comments in the comment section below and tell me what you guys are currently drinking. Maybe there's something we don't have here that you really like. Like or dislike this video. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And as always, guys, thanks for watching.